this morning, several blocks of Colfax and Peoria still shut down, and they may be for days. It's all because of a fire at an apartment under construction. This fire started Saturday afternoon right by the CU Anschutz campus. That's where Brianna Fernandez is live right now. Brianna, days later now, that building actually still smoldering.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm actually seeing firefighters putting some water into that building. It's kind of hard to tell right now just because it's super dark out here. But firefighters and police officers have been here since Saturday afternoon, like you mentioned, Erica. Right near Colfax and Peoria, we are seeing detours and road closure signs. Firefighters are here just checking out any hot spots, which is why we're seeing those road closures. So take a look at your screen because this is what fire crews and police had to tackle on Saturday afternoon. So again, this all happened just before 1, and that smoke plume was visible for miles all across the metro area. It was a large and dangerous fire. It took dozens of fire crews to get that fire under control. Aurora Fire said it started on the top floor of this 5-floor building that was under construction. Now, no one was inside when the fire started and no firefighters were hurt, but because it's taken them so long just to get the fire under control, their crews are still here this morning just blocking off several roads.
Plan your route now. Just know that obviously the Colfax and Peoria intersection's closed, but the closures beyond that could affect someone's commute. If you're trying to travel Peoria, you may want to consider Havana or Fitzsimmons or Potomac. If you're trying to go along Colfax, know that 6th is there, but also Fitzsimmons that wraps around on the north side of the Anschutz campus. That'll get you around the detour as well.
Yeah, some good alternate routes there from Aurora Police Department. Now, it's still unclear when Colfax and Peoria and several other blocks will reopen. Right now, what fire crews and police are working on is trying to get inside of that building, but once they clear those hotspots, they'll be able to start their investigation. Hopefully, they can do that later this morning. So we'll definitely stay on top of this story and bring you the latest updates, both on air and online.
Yeah, Brianna, we know Colfax, a main thoroughfare, certainly a big mess out there. Thank you so much for breaking that down.
This morning, we expect to learn more about a shooting involving Boulder police officers near the North Boulder Rec Center on South Broadway, south of Hawthorne Avenue. This is a live look at the scene right now. You can still see crime scene tape up there. Boulder PD says no officers were hurt, but they're not saying much else about what happened. They won't tell us if officers fired their guns or if someone shot at them. They also haven't said why police were called in the first place. They say the district attorney and police chief are talking about what happens next in the investigation. 9 News reporter Courtney Yoon is live at the scene right now working to get some more information. We'll have an update from her in the next half hour.
Right now, police in Aurora are trying to figure out what led up to a shooting at a house party early Sunday morning. They say a teenager was shot but is expected to survive. This all happened at a house near 28th and Abilene, just south of 225. The 18-year-old managed to get to the hospital himself. Police say they have detained 4 people tied to the shooting. Detectives, though, aren't sure exactly how they were all involved just yet. They're asking anyone who was at the party or knows anything to call Crime Stoppers.
Police in Commerce City say a group of suspected criminals were the victims of a crime themselves. They arrested 2 people they think robbed a high-low check cashing on Monaco Saturday morning. Police say a 3rd suspect got away. Investigators say while that group was robbing the business, someone else was robbing them. Someone stole the suspect's getaway car. Police say they believe it may have already been stolen once before.
Today, defense arguments pick back up in the trial of the paramedics charged in Elijah McLean's death. Aurora officers stopped and restrained McLean as he walked home in 2019. He was doing nothing wrong at the time. Paramedics then gave McLean ketamine. He died a few days later. Peter Kachuniak and Jeremy Cooper are now facing reckless manslaughter and assault charges. Friday, longtime paramedic Gary Ludwig defended the way they handled the situation. He testified it was unsafe for them to try to examine McLean.
They are not in a position to engage the patient. The police already are engaging the patient. Again, I will tell you that you can actually provoke somebody by doing further while they're in that state.
He also said he understands why the paramedics overestimated McLean's weight and gave him a bigger dose of ketamine because McLean was wearing bulky clothes. Later, after questioning from the prosecution, he backtracked a bit, saying Cooper did not actually effectively check the pulse in McLean's neck as he gave the ketamine. The trial picks back up today. We will, of course, keep you posted all day on air and online on our 9 News app and on 9 News Plus.
It's 6:08 right now, and new this morning, the United Nations says this has been the deadliest year for Palestinians in the West Bank ever on record. The new report says in total, at least 477 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank and East Jerusalem this year. That area is about 50 miles away from Gaza. More than half of those deaths happened after Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, and almost all of those who have died since that day were killed by Israeli forces. As the fighting in Gaza continues, the Israeli Defense Force says it found what it calls the biggest Hamas tunnel there. The IDF says the tunnel is about 2.5 miles long with electricity, ventilation, and communication systems. They claimed it was created to move Hamas troops. The IDF says it's trying to destroy tunnels like these. At the same time, international leaders are calling on Israel to scale back. Almost 20,000 Palestinians have been killed since the fighting started.
This morning, the Secret Service says a driver that crashed into President Biden's motorcade did it accidentally. President Biden was visiting his campaign headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware Sunday. He was standing outside when a car crashed into the motorcade. Secret Service quickly put him in a car and drove off. They now say that crash was not intentional, but it's still not clear what led up to the wreck.
Right now, almost the entire East Coast is dealing with severe flooding from South Carolina up to New England. In South Carolina, they got 7 inches of rain yesterday alone. Tides have been up to 10 feet high. Now the storm is heading toward New York and Maine. Parts of Australia are also dealing with major floods. Rescue crews saved around 300 people from floodwaters in Cairns in northern Australia. Some people spent all night stuck on their roofs. The city is now almost completely cut off from places around it, and people are running out of drinking water. So far, no injuries or deaths have been reported, and more rain is expected there today.
All right, one thing to know about the weather today, another warm, dry day. Just a bit more cloud cover today compared to yesterday, thanks to a system out in California. We get kind of the fringes of it, so that's why we get a bit more cloud cover for it today. But if you think that's warm, look at tomorrow, 66 degrees. Then we start the cool down with the potential for some snow coming up this weekend.
Some good news about the price of gas this morning. It seems to be going down across Colorado. Within the last month, the price dropped around 50 cents. Right now, the average gas price in Denver is $3.09. The state's average, though, $2.78. According to AAA, prices started dropping 3 months ago, and prices in Colorado are falling faster than most other states.
Coloradans have been paying well above $3 per gallon for a lot of 2021, for all of 2022, for all of 2023. So we're talking about significant savings for a lot of drivers, especially those who drive for a living, drive high distances, or drive to and from multiple jobs.
AAA says gas prices are expected to continue slowly dropping for the rest of the year.